Welcome to E-Learning with Trowbridge. I'm Mr. Trowbridge, and today I'm going to talk to you about a still life. A still life is a type of art where an artist will draw inanimate objects or things that aren't alive. They could draw things like flowers or fruit in bowls, a lot of fabric, bicycle spokes. Sometimes they draw like skulls of like cows. Really anything that's not alive and you can sit on a table and look at and you can draw. This gives the artist control of their subject matter. So if they had a topic like, let's say, travel, they could do like maps or like little bitty compasses, maybe like some cars, postage stamps. They would just put a bunch of things that are associated with that topic on a table and then they would draw it. They get to control the light sources, so they get to control where the shadows are. And this is like some of the reasons why people will draw still lifes. Some of the most famous still life artists are Cezanne and Vincent van Gogh. Both of them are known for their still lifes. Like Cezanne is most famous for his still lifes with apples. Vincent van Gogh is probably most famous for his sunflower paintings. And so both of these artists drew still lifes. They would set things down on a table, look at them, and draw them. And I'm going to show you how to draw a still life today. So I went and grabbed my shoe off my foot and I put it in front of me and I'm just going to look at this and draw it. Now since I'm looking at it from a different view, I printed out a picture so you can kind of see what I'm looking at. Now drawing is all about observation, looking and seeing what shapes are like next to other shapes. So I'm looking at my tennis shoe and I'm looking at all the shapes. I'm looking at the biggest one, which might be the rubber bottom part of my shoe, and then I'm looking at the gray canvas part. And I'm kind of mapping that out on my paper before I start drawing. I'm kind of like lightly placing all the shapes before I go into any detail. Instead of trying to draw like one thing really good, I lay out all of the shoe. And I always break it down with the biggest shapes first, and then the smaller shapes later. As I'm drawing the different parts of the shoes, sometimes I find that I might have drawn something too big or too small, and so I might have to erase part of my shoe and I redraw it because it wasn't big enough or it wasn't small enough. Once I've laid out all of the big shapes, I'm going to do the small ones. And before I do anything, I'm going to count and make sure that I'm drawing the right amount of holes for my shoestrings. My chucks here have 7 holes, so I'm going to start with the middle one first, and then there's 3 on each side of it. That way I plan the right amount of space on my drawing. Once I feel like I've gotten all the shapes correctly laid out, I'll start to go over my lines that I like, pushing down a little bit harder on my pencil to make the lines darker so you can kind of see where all these lines are a lot more clearer. I'll also go and start shading in all the darker parts. So like on my shoe where I put my foot in, you can see there's kind of a shadow in there. I'll color that in. The little holes where the shoelaces go in, it's really dark in there. My shoe's kind of a gray color, so I might kind of shade all of the shoe kind of a light color. And then underneath my shoe, I might like color in a little bit of the shadow underneath, or the black little ring that goes around the rubber part, the little holes that are on the side of my shoe. Art is all about observation, so I keep looking at my shoe. I keep looking at it. Now, I want you to be drawing your shoe. Now, you could very easily look at this photo that I'm looking at and draw what I'm drawing, but I want you to practice drawing your shoe. Some of the finishing touches I might do is I look at the texture that is on my shoe. So like on the front of it, there's kind of like a cross, like a checkered pattern. And then I look at the little stitches that are on my shoe, and I'm going to do all the tiny details. I always want to start with the biggest shapes first and then work my way to the smaller shapes. Once you feel like your shoe is complete, I want you to bring it to me and show it to me the next time you have art. I hope you enjoyed drawing your tennis shoe with me. Make sure that you keep practicing drawing things that you see. It's the best way for an artist to improve their art. And what other still lifes could you make at your house? What other objects could you place on a table and draw? Until next time, make sure you keep practicing.